few people mentioned that you weren't coders, which I absolutely love because my partner and I, we're in tech, but we don't code. How did your investors look at you, or how did you move forward not being having that technical background yourself?
Investors invest in people, okay? When they see the passion, they know you're going to put everything you can into it. That's what they're ultimately putting the money behind, is behind you.
I'll say though that um, that part of what my journey meant was that I had to learn how to code, and it was and it continues to be every day the hardest, one of the hardest things that I've had to do with my life. But the wonderful thing about learning how to code is that you are never alone. That there is an online community and a physical community that exists to be able to help you. And the cool thing about my decision to finally learn how to code is that it is where I met my all-women software development team. And although I'm not the most advanced web developer, the reason why our company has been successful is because when we first connected with the mayor's office, we were able to build a prototype in a week. And they liked it, and we kept building on it. And that was something we could do because we were learning how to do it on our own. And so while it's not for everybody, I don't think every person should do this if that's not your jam. It totally is something you can do if you want to. It's
Awesome.
totally something you can do if you want to.
So beautiful. We have another, okay, in between questions, medley of Kumbaya and We Are the World.
Hi, I'm Sana. I'm a founder of a nonprofit technology firm, so I just wanted to build and code and have a team that's just focused on social causes or nonprofits, helping them build a platform because they're doing the work out there. Now, I do feel when I go to technology events that I'm limiting myself. And I heard a few of your stories that you guys are more focused on either refugees or you're focused on one nationality or you're focused on low-income people. How do you deal with that you're limiting yourself?
I think this is the niche question.
Well, it goes back to the focus I was talking about earlier. In order to test your assumptions in business, you have to really focus. So everything should be canvassed out, all of your assumptions in business, and then you test each assumption and either validate or invalidate those assumptions. If you have too large of a focus, it really makes it difficult to do.
One thing I'll add to that too, so for example at Taste Trade and Dough, we focus on do-it-yourself investors, and not everybody has $2,000 to get started. But it's something that focusing on what we know and what we can do to come and empower the people that are ready. We know we can't hit every single person in the world, but we're doing what we can to sort of give that goodwill and provide that content and that technology for free for everybody. But we know we can't hit everybody.
Like the biggest fear I have like starting up, because I've been like having an entrepreneur mind since a child. So the biggest fear of my startup is spelling. So like, what was you ladies' biggest fear that you had, and how did you overcome that?
We could be here all night, guys.
I honestly thought always that if I don't die, I'm okay.
I'll add something to that. So I think one thing the question is, what do you mean by fail? Like, what is fail? Does fail mean you don't go public? I just sold my company this summer. Woo! Thank you. Thank you. You could say that we failed. It's not Amazon, which is what I wanted to be. But I don't choose to look at it that way. And I think that this idea that, like, we just have this idea of failure, but what do you even mean by that? Like, here's the thing. I sold that company. I didn't make $100 million, and now what? Now I'm an incredibly employable, really valuable, highly in demand, someone who's done it, right? that's the worst case scenario. You know, that's the worst case scenario. And I think that I often kind of felt like, well, what's the worst that could happen? You know, that I have to go and get a job, right? That's pretty survivable. So I think, you know, we all have that fear and that should drive you, absolutely. But at the same time, you know, think about, like, what do you mean by, what do we really mean by that? Because there's a whole lot of success and a whole lot of learning and a whole lot of growing and potential and all of those things that come out from trying. If you try, if you put yourself out there, you will not fail, because trying itself is to succeed.
Yes, Sharon. I want to add, just in addition, one really quick thing to that. Working with tons of women entrepreneurs all the time, every single day. Every single person has a fear in business, if not 500,000. And every single person always feels like, I have no idea what I'm doing. How many of you feel like today you don't know what you're doing? Yeah, nobody feels like they ever know what they're doing, but the way that most of us, or I'm going to speak for myself, the way that I overcome it is to keep on meeting up face to face with other people trying to do it too, because you kind of go like, oh, she can do it, I can do it.
You have to be a Wizard of Oz. Like, you are the one woman that's running everything behind the scenes. But I think that there's a paradox with fear and success. And those nerves that you were feeling, I always tell myself when I start to feel nervous that I'm on the brink, that paradox of fear and success. It's a great thing.
What? Oh.
I think the more you fail, the closer you are to success.
I'm from Mongolia, and I came here in Chicago in 2012. And I chose computer science as my interest, as my biggest hobby when I was 16. I took my first information technology class back in high school. And my first teacher told us that I'll be easy on the girls, because when it comes to mental challenge, girls suck at tech. As soon as I heard that, I did my best to prove her wrong. And since then, I've been proving them wrong. And now in Mongolia, the stereotypical thought is still the same, mindset are still the same. Girls always constantly get discouraged for choosing tech. But I want to bring Chicago's community atmosphere back to Mongolia. And I want to be remembered in Mongolia that I changed this stereotypical mindset. That's how I want it to be remembered. So ladies, how do you want your legacy to be?
It's as though we set it up. It's awesome.
So, this is a risk, but so Chicago has a reputation in the media, right? And sometimes it's not as positive. And one of the things that Chicago is known for, though it doesn't always get this affiliation, is that it's known for the welfare queen, for example, right? That's actually was part of a Chicago Tribune headline. And the idea of one specific profile of a low-income family taking advantage of the welfare system has cast a long shadow on public assistance and made people think first of fraud instead of the fact that some of us can be one fire away from losing everything that we have, and we should have a safety net that can protect us and can catch us if something really bad happens to us. And so I would like to be remembered, and I would love our all-woman software team to be remembered as the women who changed this narrative about Chicago, changed this narrative about the country, that this is not about fraud, but this is instead about our commitment to salvaging the American dream and being able to enable anyone to get the benefits that they need to really pursue economic security.
Well, I'm not from Chicago to give you opinion, but I believe for Afghanistan, we had the same challenges because the girls in Afghanistan, they are not really know about technology. But the difference is that because my country was very limited and the girls only see the TV, all the news, when we connected, we teach them about ICT, and then we connected with social media and teach them how they can make money with that. It was changed a lot. when I remember that one of our students get $100 from the work that she had done for the blogging and social media activities, and her father was disagreeing, and he bring back the money, and he was very angry that on us that why we give $100 because he never believed that her girls can make money with computer. And then we show him that how much her daughter she's a talent and how she used that and how she make money. And then after that, we saw that her father was very conservative, but her father was the view changed because he was very supportive of her. And right now, even he allowed her to go to university to pursue her education. I mean, the way for us was different. We provided the skills that created money and income for them. And it will help them and encourage them. And then other way also that they can get connected with the world and they can have a digital voice. It's also it make them more interested. And I told to Terry today in the car that about coding, why the girls is interested in Afghanistan, because nobody is believe on their ability. Whatever they do, none of their family member or in their relatives, even in the school, even in the university, believe that the girls can do some things. But when they started to coding and created a software or they build a website, they get so excited because this is something that they can do it easily and they can show it. I mean, the girls can do many things, but they don't count it and they don't they ignore always. But the coding was something that they couldn't ignore it. The software, the web application or mobile app. This is something that they can believe that they can do it by themselves and they can get confidence on their ability. And then later, you can talk about that they have income through that. With respect of the tradition, with respect of the culture, it makes them more interested to continue. And for us, we are trying to connect the girls in Afghanistan with the girls in Germany or United States, that they can see their role models and they can see how the girls here grow. And then in this way, they also want to do it. And we also created a culture and it created actually bridge between these gaps. So I can just say that.
Well, this is not really the end, but that was the end of the question period. Thank you. Back people, I'm looking at you. Nobody asked a question back there, but please hang out. So this is going to be our formal ending, except if you have questions for these folks, they're going to be hanging out at these tables. You should hang out here. All of you should meet each other, and everybody tweet and post on Instagram. Thank you so much for coming. Woo!